Following the need for ranching of animals to improve their productivity and to solve the farmers and herders clashes in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security initiated a Pasture Development Programme under the Livestock Transformation Plan. Tonight, we are beaming our searchlight on what the Pasture Development Programme is all about and the potentials it holds for livestock development in Nigeria. The program is transforming agriculture in Nigeria, and I'm your host, Gabriel Ojile, welcoming you to this episode of the program. Do stay tuned for the full package coming up after this time out.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
Transforming agriculture in Nigeria begins with a news segment. In our lineup, Sokoto State Governor seeks collaboration with Agric Ministry to ensure food security. Also, Agric Ministry assures stakeholders of gender balance in agriculture. Details of these will come your way after this break. Stay tuned.
The Sokoto State Governor, Ahmed Aliu Sokoto, recently visited the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to seek for partnership to boost agricultural activities in the state.
Our village heads.
The governor says the Sokoto State government has supported farmers with over 100 metric tons of fertilizer and other farm inputs and is also making efforts to tackle insecurity in the state. He therefore called on the ministry to support the state in empowering farmers to ensure food security in the state and Nigeria at large.
With all the inputs and implements, in addition to insecticides and pesticides, all in our efforts to subsidize agricultural activities in the states. So, another reason why I'm here is to seek for your support and to see how best we can collaborate as a state so that we can work together and achieve one of the desired results from Mr. President, provide support to all our farmers in the country.
Responding, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, appreciated the efforts the state is making in providing fertilizer and other agro-inputs to farmers in the state. The minister assured the governor of the commitment of the ministry to work with Sokoto State to ensure food security.
While Mr. President, through the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, continues to support multifaceted interventions to farmers at the subnational level, it is clear, however, that agro-inputs alone may not suffice in our collective efforts in boosting food production at the desired level to reduce food inflation and enhance the welfare of farmers and overall productivity. It is important as part of the partnership for states to further support intervention.
The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, has assured women, youth and people living with disability of the ministry's commitment to support them through the implementation of agricultural policies and programs. The minister made this commitment at the National Gender Policy in Agriculture Forum, organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in collaboration with the National Steering Committee on the implementation of the National Gender Policy in Agriculture. The minister, who was represented by the Director of Human Resource, Oluwatoyin Alade, stated that the policy, which was put together by the ministry and other stakeholders, would address the challenges that women are facing in agriculture, while assuring that the ministry remains committed to the implementation of the policy.
With the implementation of the policy document, I have no doubt there will be positive outcome in bridging gender gap, empowering women, and enhancing food security. I therefore call on all stakeholders in the agricultural sector to support the implementation of the policy, most importantly at the state level where these farmers are based.
Also speaking at the occasion, The chairman, Senate Committee on Agriculture, Production Services and Rural Development, Senator Saliu Mustafa, who was represented by Senator Natasha Hadiza Akpoti, stated that the Senate remains committed to ensuring gender balance. Senator Natasha added that there is need for synergy between the government, NGOs and the women in agriculture to ensure that the issues of gender imbalance in agriculture are addressed.
We're talking about equality. It must start from your office. You are the ones that prepare the budget. You are the ones that allocate, that give out the contract. So you have to be intentional to make sure that women are actually captured. Then the NGOs can support you. And we in the National Assembly can also support you, but most of it starts from your desk.
Other stakeholders at the meeting include Commissioners of Agriculture, Permanent Secretaries, representative of Ministry of Women Affairs, Environment, civil society groups and development partners who also lend their voices in support of the implementation of the policy.
Pasture plays a pivotal role in animal productivity and well-being, just as seeds are important to plant agriculture. But what is the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security doing to ensure its availability all year round? In our next segment record of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, we are focusing on the National Pasture Development Programme, the level of implementation, targeted impact of the program on livestock development in Nigeria, amongst other issues. Keep watching.
Animal feed constitutes 70% of the cost of production of animals across the world. One of the major feeds for livestock is pasture. The Deputy Director and Head, Range and Pastoral Services Division in the Department of Animal Husbandry Services of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Ibrahim Wali, sheds more light on the importance of pasture.
Pasture is the root of livestock. You know, anybody who is rearing livestock anywhere in the world, you need water and pasture. These are the key elements. So this division, we deal with pastoralists. As I earlier said, we support pastoralists to embrace good animal husbandry practices. We encourage them to key into what the government is doing, the National Pasture Development Programme.
On 28 June 2022, the federal government flagged off the National Pasture Development Programme as part of the renewed effort of government to develop the livestock subsector and to solve the farmers and herders clashes in Nigeria. Subsequently, the federal government declared June 28th of every year as National Pasture Planting Day to create awareness on pasture farming in Nigeria. The then Minister of the then Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammad Mahmoud Abakar, performed the flag-off ceremony in Poikwankori Grazing Reserve in Gwagwalada Area Council of Abuja.
The Pasture Development Programme, it's a national program, it's a state program. June 28th is the National Pasture Planting Day. Celebrate it in your state. Put in money for people to create awareness. You see, federal government is doing so much in agriculture. But if you know that agriculture is on concurrent list, there is just little that we can do at the federal level.
The major objectives of the National Pasture Development Programme are to provide enabling environment and support for sustainable all-year-round pasture production, encouraging private entrepreneurs to venture into commercial pasture production, promote sensitization on pasture planting and utilization and peaceful coexistence between crops and livestock farmers, among others.
So the National Pasture Development Programme has the objectives of encouraging people to go into livestock pasture production as a commercial entity. All along, pasture production is, people don't grow pastures as such. So pasture, we want people to be aware that pasture is a business. It's something that can be grown all over the country. It's not for the pastoralists, it's for any business entrepreneur. Pasture can be, in Nigeria, we had about 40% of our land is arable. Pasture can be grown in the south and move to the Sahelian areas where you have a lot of livestock. Pasture can be grown in the north where you have during the short periods of rainfall, about 3 to 4 months. Pasture can be grown in the middle belt, anywhere in the world. We want people to know that pasture is a business.
For the National Pasture Development Programme to succeed in achieving these set objectives, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has been making efforts to create awareness for farmers to go into pasture farming with similar efforts that they put in farming crops, as well as utilization of the pasture.
Is National Pasture Development Programme. This program seeks to create awareness, first among livestock farmers, particularly ruminant farmers, on the need to grow the fodder that their animals will eat. We have been engaging with pastoral organizations to create this awareness. Then the capacity building is the second one, because pasture is not like maize, it's not like rice, it's not like wheat. Pasture needs a lot of time to establish, upwards of a year. And the way you grow pasture is not the same way you grow other food crops. And so capacity building is key. And we have been doing this, working with National Pasture Farmers Association and other private sector. Following that is the availability of pasture seeds. Before now, pasture seeds were not seen as important. But today, we have made so much noise about it that everyone wants to play in that space. We are now collaborating with the National Seed Council to develop the pasture seed systems. NAPRI is also very key. NAPRI had been researching in pasture field. So it's time to get out all those research from the shelf and bring them out in the open and for farmers to work with.
Traditional rulers have also been carried along in the awareness creation right from the time it was flagged off. The district head of Paikon Kori, who was represented by Jibril Paiko, the host community of the grazing reserve where the program was flagged then, applauded the effort of the federal government on the National Pasture Development Programme. The traditional ruler assured the ministry of their support in embracing the program and sought for more consultation with the community for other programs. Aside awareness creation, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has also established demonstration farms in different states of the Federation, as well as support for the livestock farmers with pasture seed, harvesters, among others.
We have actually trained, built capacities of a lot of farmers along the value chain. This program is not only domiciled in one state, it's done nationwide. It's in the Northeast, Northwest, North Central, Southeast, and the South-South. We have states like Bayelsa, Delta, Edo in South-South, Abia, Anambra, Enugu, in Southeast, Ikiti and Oyo in the Southwest, Kwara, Niger, Kaduna in the South Central, and Jigawa, Kaduna, and so other states. We have built a lot of capacities of pastoralists and other livestock farmers.
Efforts have also been made to sensitize the herders to ranch their animals and patronize pasture farmers who grow pasture. The pasture farmers are also trained on utilization and packaging of pasture.
The hand-holding of these farmers to harvest and utilize, because the way we utilize our pasture right now is not efficient. We need to cut, process, and make sure that every part of it is eaten. So these are the areas. In doing this, we are working with the private sector. We have entered into MOU with one major private sector we have, and we are beckoning on others to come. That private sector is already even producing, processing, and exporting, just to tell us that grass is wealth.
For the Director, Animal Husbandry Services, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Winnie Lai Solarin, the National Pasture Development Programme should be embraced by all in order to solve the farmers and herders' conflict in Nigeria.
70% of your cost of operation in animal agriculture is feed. And if we don't pay particular attention to feed and fodder, we will continue to fuel conflict. Because if the animals don't have feed and the fodder, then they must look for it somehow. And that's why we have the conflict that we do, because we have not paid particular attention on the feed that we eat. And again, to say that if we don't have, we are not secure the feed way, we cannot be secure the food way. Without feed security, you can't have food security, because you will only be looking at the crop agriculture, and we need to balance it for food and nutrition security.
Ranching of livestock and feeding them with pasture has obvious advantages over the nomadic system of rearing animals.
Animals that are kept under ranch, they will be more developed than the one you are taking all about when you compare their weight. If you keep your animal under ranch, that you don't allow them to roam about, they will gain more weight.
The program is transforming agriculture in Nigeria, and we are discussing the National Pasture Development Programme. For the National Pasture Development Programme to transform the livestock subsector and ensure feed security for the animals, the subnationals, researchers, farmers, and development partners must work together to ensure animal feed security and, by extension, nutrition security for human beings. In our next segment, Partnership for Development, we are focusing on partnership between the stakeholders and the need for more partnership. Keep watching.
The role of state governments in the implementation of the National Pasture Development Programme cannot be overemphasized. There is need for state governments to provide land for pasture, and this would not only solve the farmers and herders clashes, but also create jobs in their states.
If you look at Nigeria's law, most of the times they say the land in the state belongs to state government. Even if federal government want to make use of the land, we first of all contact the governor in that area. Having access to the land, state government can also promote pasture production. If they promote pasture production, like Afalia said, they can make it to commercial level. There are some state governments that have enough land that can produce pasture throughout the years. Making use of these advantages, they will be able to produce pasture in large quantity, and they will create jobs for their youth in their various states.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is also working in collaboration with the National Association of Pasture and Livestock Feed Producers, Processors and Marketers of Nigeria, cooperative societies, and hosts of others to ensure that the National Pasture Development Programme attains its set objectives.
We have Allah, we have NAFLIMON, National Association of Pasture, Livestock, National Association of Pasture and Livestock Feed Producers, Marketers and Processors of Nigeria, NAFLIMON. We have CDI, Commodities Development Initiative. They are equally into pasture production. We have worked with ILRI, International Livestock Research Institute. We have worked with ICRISAT, International Center for Dryland Pasture. We are equally worked with them. The other CDI and NAFLIMON, we have done capacity buildings. We have given out. The second pasture planting day was done by NAFLIMON, the association, pasture association. They went to one of their members' farm, and that was why it was launched in 2023. So we are working with them. They give us lists of their farmers, pasture farmers, those who are already in the business and those who are willing to go into the business. We work with several stakeholders, cooperative farmers, agribusiness, and a lot of input suppliers. What we are trying to do is we are trying to link up with the market. Who are going to buy the grass? We normally work in where we have farmer clusters, dairy farmers. They are the ones who need the grass the most.
Billions of dollars yearly.
During the 2023 Pasture Planting Day, which was marked by the ministry, The President, National Association of Pasture and Livestock Feed Producers, Processors and Marketers of Nigeria, Muhammad Ali Baba, appreciated the federal government for the program and called for sustainability and faster implementation of the program.
We also wish to seize this opportunity to not only congratulate the new government, but to also commend the government. We recall that in his inaugural speech, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu highlighted that agriculture is one of the focal agenda or focal platforms of the administration. Now, as part of that agenda, we wish to call on the rapid implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Agenda, as well as also rehabilitation, expedited rehabilitation of the national grazing reserves.
The role of research institutes in the development of agriculture cannot be overemphasized. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is also working in collaboration with the National Animal Production Research Institute (NAPRI) in the implementation of the National Pasture Development Programme.
NAPRI is part of us as an institute under the ministry. We work very well with NAPRI in terms of we procure most of our pasture seeds from NAPRI. They have a lot of pasture experts. They have a lot of breeders. They have a lot of pasture specialists. We used to buy pasture seeds from them. Napier sells something from NAPRI because they have a lot of expertise in that. In terms of capacity building, Napier's staff, we work together with Napier staff to train pastoralists in the pasture value chain, in production, processing, and marketing. In most of our programs, they are always with us. They have the expertise, they have the knowledge, and they have the seed. So we have been working with NAPRI in almost all our programs.
A lot has been done, but more needs to be done by the federal, states, local government, and private sector players to ensure that the livestock subsector is given adequate attention across all levels, bearing in mind that countries of the world that have given much attention to livestock have records of great returns on investment.
Look, in every clime that livestock huge attention is paid on livestock, they are rich. Look at Netherlands, look at Denmark, look at Brazil, look at the United States. If you come to my house and I give you a plate of rice without meat, how will you rate me? Rich or poor? Of course, poor is the same thing. So we have put so much emphasis on the crop sector, rightly so. Okay, we are struggling, yes. But don't leave livestock behind. Livestock can create jobs. Livestock can give you nutritious food. Livestock can grow our economy. If you look at the GDP contribution of livestock in Nigeria, hey, it's between 5 and 9 because of lack of data. MBS will even say as low as 2.5%. Look at Kenya. What is their livestock contribution? 42%. Look at that. And in the whole of Africa, Kenya, you have to reckon with Kenya. Look at Botswana. They are exporting beef. What is their GDP? It's over 40%. Nigeria has the largest livestock in West Africa. What are we doing with that number?
This is the much we can take tonight on the program, but I will leave you with a question. As an individual, local government chairman, governor, or as development partner, what are you doing with the huge potentials in livestock subsector in Nigeria? Join hands with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure food security in Nigeria by implementing the federal government agricultural policies and programs in your state. Have a great night rest, and bye for now.